Okay.
Okay, let's call our meeting in order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Everybody get a chance to look the agenda over? Okay, if we don't have any deletions or additions to the agenda, we'll go with approval of the minutes. I don't have any questions on the minutes. Do you have any questions on the minutes?
Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, the minutes were stated.
Yep.
Yes. Financial report. Number one is the fund balance.
Our beginning cash balance is $232,830.92. We received our MTF money in September, and I caught us up for some of our interest from April till September. So those are pretty much normal deposits. And then we had our HRA checks, payroll, AP, and then that bottom one of the HRA, I just had a typo. I put too much on an HRA last month, so that's in the good for us.
Oh, okay.
So that would make our ending cash balance at $336,003.35.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Accounts payable. You're gonna look at the money in your accounts. Anybody got any questions on this?
I just got it. What do we pay Harrison School for?
That was for this CPR. They provide the lunch
Oh,
for the guys
okay,
with
the-
CPR.
Oh, Charwell's.
Yep,
Charwell's, okay.
Yes,
All
and
right.
the bloodborne pathogens.
What is this Central Michigan Wildlife Services?
Beaver Trapper. Beaver Trapper.
Oh, that's, okay, that's the Beaver Trap. All right. There, now we know what it is. All right.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills.
Support.
Support.
Yes.
Okay. Public comment, number one, George.
Morning.
You're up, sir. Morning.
My name is George Freiberg. I live out in Marion, Winterfield Township, with Clare County.
Yes.
And I'm here as the initiative coordinator, you might say, for the people to bring back the Temple Forest Campground. Our objective is to restore the Temple Forest Campground in Temple to a fully functional state campground, including accessibility facilities and ongoing maintenance of grounds, facilities, roadways, and bridges. A little bit of a background. This initiative began probably last winter, early spring, where we accumulated about 140, or actually more than 140 signatures of local people to try to restore this campground, which has been shut down for quite some time.
Oh, yeah. And
We submitted a letter of interest to the Michigan DNR on March 19th, 2020. Some of the highlights of that letter include the campground is currently designated as a state campground. The location is Reading Township, Temple, which is a minor civil division of the township. It includes about 191 households and 490 residents. This is pretty key. The Reading Township ranks 45 out of 50 poorest communities in the state. That's as per the 2011-2015 U.S. Census. The community consists of light commerce, local and seasonal residents, and it's all very dependent upon seasonal tourism. The campground previously consisted of maintained roads, a bridge, campsites, burn pits, toilets, etc. I don't know if any of you have been there before, but it's just a beautiful site right on the
yeah, I've been there
Muskegon
several
River.
times, so.
Several years back, it was closed and it was logged, and some huge concrete blocks were placed on top of the bridge leading to the main entrance of the bridge, or to the park. The request and justification for reopening, as submitted in the letter to DNR, was economic benefit. We mentioned that additional accessible public recreational facilities to the area will provide a tremendous boost to this economically challenged community, including increased employment and tax revenue. Public use. Restoration of the park will allow the local public and tourism safe and unfettered access to this beautiful location. One needs to travel many miles to get to another public campground on the Muskegon. Safety and emergency response. This is key because there have been some problems back there where people actually had to be taken out by helicopter because of poor access. And of course, we mentioned DNR benefit, increased hunting licenses, user fees, and community appreciation. We received a response back from the DNR on July 27th. Some of those highlights include they have begun a review of requests, including funding or grant opportunities to restore the campground. The request is entered into what they call a trail proposal database, and it takes 12 to 18 months to go through that process. It has to go through fisheries, it has to go through wildlife, forest resources, and law enforcement review. It also included delineation of responsibilities, and that's what's key with the commission here. It mentions that Twin Lakes and Thornapple Trail and the bridge are under commission ownership. So even though it's a state park, the main trail going through and the bridge are under commission responsibility. They also mentioned that the state land rule, which is Chapter 4, State Forest Lands, Order 4.3, indicates it's a closed campground, and that needs to be repealed. And they suggested we initiate a conversation with the board, the road commission, to discuss the need to reopen the bridge structure. So here we are today. So in summary, the community really needs this economic boost. The DNR is currently engaged, and we need help. We'd like to form a partnership with the DNR, the commission, and the community to reopen this valuable asset. And we can also offer some volunteer assistance. We have some local folk that are in the construction business, and they're willing to do what's necessary to make that happen, if we can fit that in. So we ask for your assistance.
Can you be specific on what exactly you need from us?
Yeah, we'd like to, what the cost is, what you need.
Probably the most important need from you is to reopen the bridge.
The bridge.
Yes. When the park was closed, it was logged. And from what I understand, they put some mats down on it, and the logging trucks took all of the timber out of there. And then and in fact, I think Kayla sent you a copy of the initial letter to the DNR. It shows the large concrete blocks that are currently sitting on it. Those have to weigh several tons. But I understand there's code issues and such that are needed. And then beyond that, it would be maintaining the main trail that goes through the park, which is called Thornapple Trail. So it would need occasional grading. The Park Service, of course, would take care of all the individual campsites, the toilets, and the burn pits.
Oh yeah, sure.
Have you looked at it, Dwayne?
Yes.
What are we looking at? Like
the bridge, current bridge is on.
It's no good.
It's no good.
So
There's that's why the blocks are there, so no one drives over it, because it's not safe to drive over. There's holes in the deck, and then
So you need
I went
a
underneath
completely new
because I
bridge.
thought maybe we could replace the deck, but the abutments are
Crumbling.
scoured and
So
cracked
essentially,
and
you
falling.
need a new bridge.
we need a whole.
It needs a new bridge, so going through the DEQ permit, I know it would have to be bigger than it is now. Plus the existing one's narrow. I think
We'd have to
it's
make
like
that
15 foot wide.
specification,
We'd have to
yeah.
go, 30 feet wide and meet all the new criteria
Just a
for that.
rough estimate.
I'm gonna say probably 250,000. minimum.
For a bridge, you can build it for that?
Well, if we do one like Cedar,
Right.
it would be similar to Cedar.
Would it?
If we could get, if that was possible, if we did soil borings and had a little
Depending on your
engineering
permit.
work done,
Permit
and
application.
depending on the permit and everything, yes. Now beyond the bridge, it's just a mode
Yeah.
Sand trail.
2-track like
That's all it is.
walking path right now, so there would have to be some
So
road
we'd have to go
work
through
done.
and build a road through, or?
or something, right?
It's
so there
a
would
sand
be
trail.
more.
Yeah,
It would be more work than just a bridge, but starting off with the bridge would be a start.
Well, the thing is, it's worth talking about. It's something that's needed. They do need our help, but you'd have to get together some prices and exactly pretty close to what our obligation is, what the money would be, and then we'd have to decide what we can do.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Without doing any engineering work. I mean, you could say between 250 and 500 if you wanted to. I mean, is that even? Do we want to even consider, or do we want to take steps to come up with a more solid?
My suggestion
Plan,
would be is to see if there's funding available. Let's do it. Figure out what we need to do it right. See if we can get some finances from grants or something to get an engineering study. Figure out and then get a good cost and see, because essentially it's hard to justify putting $500,000 into a bridge, or say it's 250, whatever, when we have other needs, right?
Yeah,
So if there's grant money available, then I would say I'm all in. If we have the time and if we can pull it off, right?
but what other steps are to be done to open? I mean, it's initially DNR, and so has that all been approved?
No, they're going through the process.
See, we don't even know if they're gonna
No.
approve that
Right,
even.
right.
So
Well,
it's like, I guess if they're going through the process, we need to take a step back until it's cleared with them.
But it's hard for the
Until-
DNR to come up and say, okay, we're
I
going to
know.
approve this if there's no access to the
Right.
property. So
Mhm.
we have to really have a plan for
Plan
the
together.
access.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a chicken and the egg type thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And when we're trying to coordinate it concurrently, they've got some gears in motion right now, and hopefully, they're going to continue to move it along. And I understand the bureaucracy of all of it, and it's going to take some time for that to happen.
absolutely it will.
But if we do it in series, I think it'll probably be forever before we get it done. So it would be great if we could get some input from you guys on what that would really take and how doable it is. At the same time, working with them. And I invited one of the DNR rep here today, but they weren't able to make it.
Be a tremendous amount of dirt work after you went through the bridge. After you got past the bridge, there's going to be a lot of dirt work to be done. Because there's a big hill coming up out of there, and it's just sand all the way to the high banks. There would be a lot, and if it's going to be rustic, we're not looking at campers going back in there. We're looking at throwing travel trailers back in there. Is that what we're looking at? Or?
Yeah, that's the way it was before.
So there's going to have to be a good road to get them in there. So that's going to be quite a bit of money there too. The dirt
Well,
work.
it depends on if they can get some funding
Right.
someplace, we can't take it all, no.
No, you're going to tie up a lot of money in gravel.
Because
and
I know
stuff.
that I don't believe the township can really
No,
participate.
they haven't got any money.
A
So
couple things to consider too is I understand the state has now allocated a few $1 billion over several years to get caught up on backlog maintenance on campgrounds. So some of those funds may be
Maybe
available.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Dwayne can check those things out for us in the beginning.
Have you been in canoe camps north of Harrison there lately? Has anybody been in the canoe camps up north of Harrison? I haven't either. I don't know what they're allowing in there now. That's a rustic campground, much like the high banks used to be.
But I think it would be great even to consider, we could take this a step at a time.
Yeah.
The key
Yeah.
is the bridge. And if we have the bridge, then we can have rustic campgrounds in there. And maybe sometime in the future, further develop them. But without the bridge, you have to go, a few miles down Cook Road, down Stetler Road, and then
Come back in.
back on in.
Yeah.
And you're not going to keep people out of there. They're going to go back in there. I don't care how you block it. That's happened.
I was in on the holidays and there's fifth wheels in there. How are you getting a fifth wheel? You know, I wouldn't bring mine in here, but yeah, I mean, they're utilizing it. I mean, it was packed.
Yeah, they drag them through that brush and them old dirt
Oh,
trails. And,
And hope that you don't come across somebody the other way.
yeah. There's a wet spot
That's
in
at
there
the high
too. I
banks there.
remember there's a
Oh,
wet
there's
spot. Yeah.
yeah, I pushed somebody out this year.
Who's the
We were back
DNR
there,
person?
We were back there a couple of
name
months
was,
ago. Yeah.
Kinsner.
It looked to me
Yeah, I
like there
can,
was some old campers and stuff
Email
that's
you
been
this
there a while.
information.
Are people taking up residence there?
Well,
That's a
Yeah,
possibility.
well, in the summertime, there's some people that camp back in there the whole summer.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
So
we'll
really,
take everything under consideration. The bridge is the thing. And see if we can get some funding. And we'll do what we can do and we'll report back to you, or you can come to our meetings, whatever you wanna do.
Really appreciate it.
But
It'd
you
be
really
great for this
you
community.
can't go forward until we have a plan on
We gotta have,
access, right? So
Correct. I mean, yeah, without,
without the bridge,
accessibility,
you can't do
it's
much.
fruitless.
I mean,
You can
I
coordinate.
can have. I mean,
What?
we could have a new bridge in there by the end of March.
Yeah, if we had.
But if we
funding.
can get,
But it's the
Funding,
funding.
grant
I mean,
funding,
do we
yes.
want to take? I mean,
You know, we've got,
if I could do it like Cedar Road's $100,000 for material, and
Yeah.
then the rest is our labor. So, I mean, when I say 250, that's, we have that labor budget anyways, but it's
Well,
taken
yes.
away from other
And
stuff.
How
you
many
know,
ton is that bridge on Cedar?
it's how many ton does it weigh or
How many
handle?
ton can it-
what's the
It's
limit
MDOT.
on the
It's
one?
called HL 93 modified load rating, which is an MDOT standard load rating, which is actually higher than
Oh.
any other state. So that's what we follow.
Oh,
is
you follow that
MDOT
rating.
requirement, so they can handle anything.
Okay.
George, has the powers to be indicate anything about a recreational plan being required within the township? Have you heard that term come up, recreational plan required or anything?
No.
That's something you might wanna ask. A lot of times, they're not going to look at a project like that unless the township has a recreational plan, which
Okay.
is another whole,
as of right now, I don't think the township,
is
because I spoke to one of the
yeah.
members of yesterday on it, and
It may or may
it
not be a
doesn't sound like
requirement.
anything,
Are
I
they
worked on one
supportive of
Lincoln.
it or not supportive of it?
not that I know of, but this was only one person, I don't think they've had a big discussion on it, so.
We had that at the village too.
Yeah.
To get grants, you have to have a rec plan.
All right.
But it might be something.
Yeah, we can help you
If-
with
since
the
it's not going
information.
through the
Yeah,
township.
and what we need to do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, with every good, there's gonna be some positive, there's gonna be some negative.
Well, naturally, that's,
I think there's overwhelming support for it, especially for business and the people that live in that community.
oh, there would be, I'm sure.
There's gonna be some negative, input from the people that live on the road that goes in there. I mean, if I lived right next to it, I would be too. I mean, I'd be the
And
first
that's
one.
just,
to admit. But I think what we're looking for is the overall better, benefit of the community.
yeah. Well, do you have any more questions? Any questions?
Not on that subject.
Do we have an action plan at this point then? Where are we at? What are we gonna do next?
Well, I think Dwayne should, check in, see if we've got any grants available, see what they start someplace and.
At least
Well,
a
in discussion with the
conversation
DNR.
Maybe coordinate
Yeah, I
with the
was gonna do
DNR guy
Yeah,
Kinzer?
and Kinzer and see what.
Is that one of the emails that you sent me? It had.
Yes.
Okay, I can forward it to Dwayne, and that way he'll have your email too.
Okay.
That way he can get a hold
Yeah,
of
that's
you
the whole
as well.
string with, the DNR.
So if
Because
you,
we've
stay
talked
connected
to
with us,
Amy.
we'll work together, see what we can do.
Yeah, and she's been my contact, but the last time I tried to contact her, she said contact this Kinsley fellow.
Okay. All right.
Okay, is there anything else?
Sounds
I
like
just
a
have
great
one-
project.
Oh,
All for that.
Great.
Yeah.
Just one more, prior to the meeting, I was talking with Dwayne, where I live right next to Consumers Energy Maintenance Yard.
Oh, do you?
And there's a lot of gravel trucks coming up and down there. Now, so I live on a busy road. I accepted that because I bought the place there. But those trucks, when they come in, they're coming in uphill, and they got that Jake brake on, and they got exhaust pipes like that. I mean, we could, if you open up the windows, you might be able to hear it this morning.
They're pretty loud.
I was asking what it would take to get, no engine brake signs put up in that area, because they're really not needed, because they're going uphill anyway.
You need a township ordinance.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Noise
That's
control
what
ordinance.
that's what I told him. I didn't
Yeah.
know for sure. I know
Yeah.
in Farwell they had to
Yeah.
get one to put up signs. So that's why we wanted to talk with you guys.
They came to
If you've
Hatton.
ever had to put up
They came to Hatton several times when I said I'm planning in Hatton about this pit here to get Jake brakes, but it takes a township ordinance.
Okay,
That's your starting point.
I'll do that.
And then if they get the
Recreational
ordinance passed or whatever, then we would put the sign up.
Yeah, we don't enforce it, but,
First step, second step, yeah.
yeah, that's your starting point.
plan. Thank you. Appreciate that, guys.
Thanks for your efforts.
Yeah, I know, that's good, somebody's gotta be doing it,
Yep.
or else it don't get done.
No, that's fine.
Okay, you're all set, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Next,
I was just here keeping my eye on the Coolidge Road.
Coolidge Road, yeah?
Yep, and Dwayne and I were talking, and
Well, we're gonna
Are
have a
you-
grader. We're gonna have a grader there today.
Are you happy?
I don't think so.
She's not here because she's happy.
She's not here.
They don't see me here every time.
Yeah, yeah.
If the problem is, going down that hill and that water staying there because it's actually too high. And so it sits there and it's just mush.
Pretty bad, huh?
It's all clay.
So
So
since
grade sounds
since
like-
last meeting, we did grade it with
Yeah.
the
They did.
trucks.
I remember. Good.
I texted Brian. He's gonna have a grader there today.
Today?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's a
Try and
good,
peel some of the.
good week for
Burn 'em
them.
How's
off
the
or
problem-
something.
How's the problem gonna be solved?
They're gonna do a project next year, I
Yes,
suppose. Well, yeah,
correct.
I think,
What,
Yeah, they want-
between, Cranberry and Stockwell.
Yep.
That clay area,
Mhm.
there's a lot of clay and a lot of water.
Oh, yeah.
That's just
Can't pull too much because it's clay.
had it on there. Greenwood
Yep.
Greenwood stock,
wants,
Hayes.
so that's on their list.
Is it on Greenwood's list or Hayes' list?
Greenwood. They want to do Coolidge and a mile and a half on Harding and a mile on Coolidge for 2 gravel projects. Dave's got notes here that they have money to do both. So Dave's already got the estimates
Okay.
done.
I see.
I'm gonna get them over to the township sooner than later, so if they board approve it, it'll be on the books for
It'll
next
be on
year.
the
So
books for the coming year.
yeah, but I mean, Dave's getting these estimates. We haven't really sent them out to the townships yet. I did Lincoln yesterday
Did-
because he wanted his board to be ready to go, but we haven't sat down with all Dave's numbers and Al's numbers to come up with a
No,
budget for next year. Like, I don't want to make promises we can't keep. So
absolutely, that's
You
good.
can only do so many.
And how you gonna
Right.
get the water out of that?
next year it'll be ditching, but today it's probably going to be just grader work and get it off the road for now until next year. So
But you'll be doing a lot of ditching there.
next year, yeah, it'll be complete drainage improvement and everything. But for now, it's going to be
Yeah.
a Band-Aid fix.
There's a spring
Now
that
you put
kicks
Band-Aid
out
on
into
to
that
get us
road.
through.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a spring that there's no ditch and it kicks out into the road
Oh, I
there.
know it does.
So if the ditch was there, it would relieve a lot of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What else we got? Okay, you're all
Nice
set?
to meet you.
Yeah,
Thank
Thank
you.
yeah,
you for
thank
coming
you
in,
for coming
stay
in,
in
sir.
touch.
Thank you.
You guys are,
I apologize, I drove from Fort Wayne up here to.
Oh.
Oh, I see.
Decided to meet
Oh,
Bucky
good.
late.
No, that's all
Thank
right.
you, guys.
Yeah.
you betcha. All right. Okay, that's the whole business. Project updates, yeah? We just talked about some of them.
Yeah, let me. So, all paving is done. All our projects have been shoulder graveled. Keene Road, we should be done with Keene Road at the end of this week.
Keene Road, yeah.
Keene and
Winterfield.
Winterfield.
Yeah,
That got paved, and right now we're just topsoiling the slopes and buttoning it up for winter. But it's turned out really good.
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 It's awesome, actually. Hard. We pulled it off.
Good.
So that one's basically the last one we're buttoning up. Right now we're working on that US 10 bridge for MDOT,
Oh, yeah,
and then MDOT threw us a curveball, and
they did. What?
so
What'd
we
they do?
they wanted us to shoulder gravel the ramps at 115 and 10. So we did that the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Then then we got 3 guys today at the rest area doing some jet work, sewer back truck work for them all day. Then the rest of the week they want us to go shoulder gravel 115 from Lake Station to the county line.
They want quite a lot.
And then they want us to shoulder gravel 61 from Gladwin this way. So we're trying to
Increase
accommodate.
revenue, right?
Limestone.
Limestone on the ramps. 115 is going to be just regular 22A. So in the meantime, we did rent shoulder machine for the skid steer, so that will be in action tomorrow, but we're going to use it on local roads first.
Good.
We've been using Bruce and Andy's trucks with the conveyors for shoulder gravel for the state right now. But yeah, so we're going to we have a plan to get as much of the really bad shoulder
In the county.
areas done on our local roads.
Yeah.
Gravel projects, once we button up Keene, then we're trying to get everything bladed before winter and things freeze.
Let's hope so.
Yep. And then we'll have 2 or 3 guys heading over to Cedars to start prepping for that. That's going to start on Monday.
Okay.
And then I've got the big culvert for Brand Road is coming in on the 20th of November.
It is?
Yep. And then Wannsie's supposed to close Lake Station the end of this week to put that tube in there still. But Wannsie's doing that work, so we'll just have the road closed. But we'll notify,
Okay, so
we'll do our press release and stuff for that.
Yeah. There's quite a lot going
Maple
on.
Grove wrapped up.
Maple Grove is done. Ride's awesome. Turned out great. Tobacco, we did that, fix that replace that culvert, got that paved in.
About gravel and, Athey.
We are,
Arthur.
yeah, we're gonna do that next year. We told
I
Matt.
see all the stakes are out.
Yeah, we had it ready for gravel, and then when Dan called and we were gonna gravel Willow and then Athey, and then Dan called and he didn't want us to gravel Willow, so we called Matt and said,
Oh, that's fine.
Grant just canceled Willow, maybe we should cancel Athey till next year just to be safe, and he said,
Well, it looks nice up there.
he said what we got done so far, he was surprised we got that much done. So.
Well, that's been a good fall. Man, it's been a good fall. Weather-wise.
Yes.
This
Yeah,
week's gonna be
Yeah.
wonderful.
Midsummer.
I know.
They
We
did get
have
a
lot-
call
we
this
did have a
morning.
lot of rain too. We
I
had-
think it was
Spotty
Everhart they
rains,
did,
but it's-
right? That they did some paving or gravel work. I don't
Yeah.
know which one, but they just did the shoulders, and we got a call this morning that said it looks really, really nice.
Hey, over
And that the
that.
guys did a very nice job.
Camber, that's the one that I had a question on last week.
Yep, all that's buttoned up. Yeah, Reith Riley's, they closed their plant, so we got in
They're
right
ready for
at the end.
season now,
We were waiting to do, was it Southwood, that overlay, and then they do all their shoulder gravel at the same time, I was
Mhm.
assuming.
Yep, they went around, they shoulder gravelled Keene Road for us too. So yeah, we're trying to get ready for winter and then still at the same time prep for these 2 bridges to put in yet this winter, so.
Yeah, well, that's quite a job getting them, getting them 2 in yet, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, yeah. Do you have anything else now?
Yeah, I don't think so. Just no, nothing else.
Okay, well, that was a good report, Dwayne, thank you.
I did want to update you guys. We did get
Yeah.
the results back from the ballot that you submitted, and it did pass.
Did it?
Went in as yes.
Okay.
So I have that if anybody wants to read it and look at it.
All right.
I have it.
Did pass, okay.
Mhm.
Going to new business? COVID emergency winter response. What is this?
Well, I guess I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention because MDOT had come around a month or two ago, and they're preparing for if they get shut down or say another county gets shut down due to COVID, what like they wanted everybody's input as far as like what we could offer and stuff. So like if MDOT's shut down, they may be calling on us to
Go out 10 or whatever.
So it would shift our priorities to do multiple lane primary routes and then MDOT routes and then to our primary routes so it may backlog everything we have to do.
It's all hypothetical.
It's all hypothetical.
Yeah.
Do the minimum, whatever they require.
But on that being said, like on ours, like
if we had an issue,
do we want? I guess my initial thought was in the spring we had a week or two where the guys took their trucks home, so they didn't have to come in here. They can just jump in the truck and go to work. So I was thinking that, but then DJ brought up the point of the trucks have to be plugged in the winter, and then they're not thawed out in the winter. So
they
that
should
kind
be
of
inside,
So I guess probably just plan on staging trucks here like normal, and then we'll just
I would think so.
have to do a different COVID protocol.
Your best judgment to stagger people coming in if it does get.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just you got to figure it out.
I like. Okay.
You guys arrive 15 minutes there, and
That's right.
common sense approach.
But then, Dwayne, how do we cover that? If I don't know how many trucks MDOT has on the primaries that you would take responsibility for. But do we have the manpower to do that? And what's going to happen to our roads?
That's
I mean, that's a good question.
I mean, we have the manpower that we have. That's it.
Right.
But this isn't. I was watching the news the other day on our news, and Genesee County Road Commission was on expressing to the community the same.
Yeah.
It's the same because they're like, if this happens,
then
your rural roads aren't going to get plowed for a week or two because it's just the way of priority list is going to happen. So it's theoretical, but
I know.
and we'll do what we can and offer what we can,
but still,
they send 2 trucks out of Mount Pleasant normally up 127, and they do 10 east at the same time. So they do it with 2. We have a couple spares.
Right.
We used to do it all.
Bill, you're gonna come back to work?
I remember those days.
Only if we need to. Only if he breaks both my legs.
Then you're gonna be no good.
But we used to do it all.
Yeah, I remember those days.
But I know they do it with 2 now.
Yeah.
So really, you're just talking about 2 trucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Which isn't that bad.
And staggering people coming in if it's which maybe is a practice you start anyway, just to avoid the inevitable that everybody's going to get it eventually. It's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Be ready for it.
Well, I think they got a good plan. That's good.
Okay. I just wanted everyone aware and
it's good. Yeah.
So it's not just us, it's every road commission's in the same thing.
In the same thing.
But at the end of the day, the people have to get to the doctor. They have to get to school,
Exactly.
They have to go. So we have to roll.
Yeah.
And if Gladwin needed help, we could go all the way, or they could come this way, that kind of stuff on their state.
Yeah, just partnership.
Yep.
Yeah.
Common sense.
Yep.
There's a lot of common sense what it is. Okay, let's move on. Correspondence. Of any correspondence. Why do we put that on there all the time when we?
So it's been on there.
In case you get a letter from somebody.
Well, I suppose.
It's usually at the top of the list.
Very good.
I've been to.
All right.
Always had it down.
Well, it's okay, whatever. Staff report?
So the new commissioner workshop that I put in there, I don't know if you've been to one, if you're interested.
No, everything was COVID when we came on. So
Yep. So I don't know if you would be interested. If you are, this is just kind of get with me, text me,
Okay.
email me something.
Did you get Max? Like,
I would
Yeah.
go.
Yep, I did get back from Dave. He wants to
It's a
go.
good idea for
I'll
you
go.
guys.
I mean,
And then they
They
and
get
then
some
they
good
do
information.
and then they
Right.
offer it whether it's in person or virtual. Whatever you prefer, just let me know, and then whether you want it in person or.
Okay.
I'm not interested.
You're not interested, I wish you would. I couldn't say that.
But you already did.
it's
Too late
it's
now.
out there.
I've been known to do those things. Okay,
Call that a gap.
so the workshop has been discussed, okay. We have reports from the commissioners.
Let me add something just so you
Yeah.
guys know. I'm still working on the Gary Sapansky's property issue.
Yeah.
I got to get a hold of Gail from Marissa
Yeah.
as far as like legal mumbo jumbo for the official letter that I write. And then there's been a couple other issues property issues that keep popping up. So
We need a plan. We need a plan for all these late things.
Like, so we did Ridge Road in Frost Township,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
and now the property owner
Oh,
came out and he says his road goes way out to the lake almost. So coming down that hill, Ridge Road, you hit that stop sign.
Yeah.
That's actually a T.
mhm.
Lake Road goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we had survey done there.
And how far are we off?
Oh, it's exactly how.
Is it?
Over time, though, that road just kind of turned itself into there. And then the ditch fits what's there, but I mean, his property is.
I see. Let's see what. Yeah.
I don't know why it just came to light. It seems like it's been like that forever, or for a long time, I would assume. But
By looking at it, you can see it's been a long time. Yeah.
Is it even possible to consider versus changing it and all the money we're gonna have into doing that is to make them an offer on?
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to Gail about. Is it something we consider buying right away from him, or do we buy an easement from him, or do we readjust the road? I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult to do, but it's gonna be.
But the road's been that way for 50 years.
Or do we?
Act 51
Or
protects you.
is there that? That's what I don't know.
Yeah, been that way for 50 years. I know of.
I can show you one right now that we're 80 foot off right away. I really can.
Well, there's no doubt.
And it's been that way for ever.
I would see what would make the resident happy.
Did he
and take
express
that,
anything?
leave some
What
out.
was his?
He hasn't said yet, but
Well, we'll see what Gail's got to say. And see what,
Some of the roads are on half of the right of way. You know, they're not centered.
Yeah.
They're on right of way. They're not centered. They're on half.
well, that's
Yeah,
on the Crooked Lake one.
Yeah.
That's never ending story. The road.
the center isn't the center.
No.
The center of
The road's on his.
Yeah.
He owns property on both sides of the road. The road is 14 foot wide. That's all the right of way we own.
Mhm.
But now that he had a survey done and like 3 foot of the road is on his property across the street.
Mhm.
But then I told him like, well, if I put the road where it goes, now I'm cutting into your property on the house side of your street. Why wouldn't you rather have it on the other side? But now he may want something in writing where we like trade this piece for this piece or something.
I don't know.
It's a can of worms.
That's what I was just thinking, Bill. It's gonna
Over the
it's
years,
a can of
like at my
worms.
shop, when I built it, I got power in there. I cut some trees out, made a gate and everything. Well, come to find out, I'm 10 foot on the neighbor's property across the road. The road's 40 foot off.
Right.
So then I sold it, and I had to buy an easement to get to my shop because the road's off 40 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, is that right?
But that's just the way it is.
That's where it comes into problem. When people try and sell, now you got your legal descriptions and all that.
You know, and when you talk to Gail, that might be any improvements we do, we might want to check that out if we're not protected by Act 51,
Learn the
you know?
hard way. Mm-hmm.
It's all over the county. I mean,
I
in
This
know.
every
is
county.
one of those deals where you just don't say anything.
Right.
Just let it happen. Because
There's so much of it. There
There's
is.
so much of it if we keep purchasing
And
property.
them lakes, a lot of time back years ago, they would go out there to the corner, pick up the survey marker and move it.
Just, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they did that.
Mhm.
People do.
And the other one is, where is the other one? Arnold Lake. Apparently we own 3 lots in there.
on what side?
Oh man.
Dang, we
Point-
could be having a beach out there.
Point
What's
View?
going on?
Point View, so
Point
on the
View,
south
yeah.
side, yeah.
What do we have that
Alright.
for?
But the guy's building a house or something, but he wants to either buy some of our property or have an easement so he can put a driveway in to get to his. I haven't looked at that one
Was
yet,
it a
but
drainage?
that just came up.
Seems for some reason that was a drainage issue.
I don't know. I
Can't
don't
remember
know.
all of it, but
But
That's
that one just
That's-
came up
that's a new one for you
yesterday.
now.
it's like this bridge in Temple. That got shut down the same time that one on the West County line did, and it was structural.
Oh, is
Which
that
one?
right?
Oh,
Over
the
there in
Temple
West
one?
Freeman, there's that one and that West County line one got shut down at the same time, and they were both structural things. Over there off of Osceola, Clare County line, there's a bridge that's shut down over there
Mm.
in West Freeman. And well, it's not a bridge; it's an old boiler tube.
Oh, jeez.
That's all it is. There's no boiler. You can see the rivets in it,
Yeah.
but it was structural when they got shut down. It's been done years ago. You know.
Hmm.
Well, you see a lot of that stuff up here in the North Country.
Oil field made it work.
What's that?
Oil field made it work.
Well, a lot of it, if they couldn't move it, they went around it. You know, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. Okay, Dwayne, what else?
It was
Any
direct.
com-
That was all.
Okay, we're
Yeah,
on
no.
commissioner reports. Yeah, yes,
I'm good.
you're good.
We need to change our clock.
That's why I said I'm short. I can't reach the end and move it.
That's my report.
I have to slide on that stack of chairs. Just don't
That's
want.
a good report.
Yeah, it's solid.
Do you have anything?
Good.
Went to Summerfield. They're happy. Had an interesting discussion involving Stockwell Road
Yeah,
with
what was,
them. They really would like to see that paved. I mean, all the way
Well,
across.
wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I mean,
who
I
would,
mean,
Yeah.
they are really enthusiastic about that.
Well,
Yeah. And I can't blame them. They use it a lot.
that road has
Yeah.
a lot of traffic.
It's not theirs, but you know, I think you could get money from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're willing to pitch in.
Yeah, it was fun.
No, they really are.
Yeah, it was
I
really
don't
serious.
know how that
It was
works,
fun
though.
discussion because
Take
They don't even-
advantage of that.
yeah, they don't
I don't
even
Is there any talk on, as far as Greenwood and Hayes about maybe put some money on that road?
I don't think they did. But Summerfield has.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, but
it was
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
no
Yeah.
kidding, they're all
Well,
for
people
it.
cut.
sure they
I
are.
mean,
Well, that's their main way
yeah,
across.
going
Yeah.
over there.
Shortens a lot of time for them. You know.
Oh, sure.
You can't get the scooters unless you run downstairs.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe scooters will put in for it.
Well, see, Hayes, we met with Mike
Yeah.
Haley.
He
but
lost the election.
He
Did
did?
really?
see that?
I
I've
never
heard-
seen the results.
That's why we didn't get too much into Hayes. 'cause
Yeah, yeah, everything.
Big turmoil there.
Well, in any event, that's something to have, a discussion to have in the future
Yeah.
is how we can, because it's an outlying, it's on the corner of Greenwood, on the corner of Hayes, a lot of times there isn't a lot of priority on that as far as township level, but it sure ties the county in nice for Summerfield.
It's like Rogers south of 61. You know, the
Yeah.
man sighting that. But I mean, they're so expensive to do because of the wet. And Stockwell's one of them because of all the water.
Water
It's-
underneath, I
jeez,
know.
You know,
Maybe in the future we'll have
Well,
that discussion.
we
a lot more better
Um,
materials than we used to have.
Greenwood doesn't have it on their list either. But we're almost done with Keene, and we're gonna have some numbers, what it cost us.
Right.
And
And we used some materials there that we never used before.
Keene was quite extensive, so the cost to do a mile would be less than what we did for Keene, but
But still, you have to go from Coolidge to Harrison Avenue, right? We gotta get that in shape too before you do any paving, right?
Keene's engineering estimate
Mm.
a couple years ago was like 480,000, and I think last Kayla told me we were at like 280 or something like that. So we're
Cool.
we're like $200,000 under engineer's
Oh,
estimate,
wow.
Uh,
It's always a
good.
bonus.
and and,
That's about half, isn't it?
and Winterfield's paying half of that. So
I see.
and we pulled it off with our guy.
Okay,
That's all I had.
we can adjourn our meeting. You got the time, okay?
Motion to adjourn?
Okay,
Second,
Aye.
yep, yes, yes.
then we're going close, is that it?
No, we're not
No,
going,
it's
we're not
open.
going into a closed